Well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. You know that we have had many crises that we've had to juggle as a city, as an administration, but we have faced them head on. And one that I wanted to give you an update about today was the cyber attack that the city of New Orleans experienced 6 months ago. That date was December 13th, 2019. Initially, our immediate goal was to secure our environment. We talked about building that new house, resume core IT services, and stand up public safety and financial operations as quickly as possible. As of today, our recovery has been pretty much on track. You know, the COVID-19 set us back just a little bit, but the work on the cyber attack has just been moving very steadily and on pace. So as of today, about 80% of our applications and services have been fully restored to date. Ms. Kim LeGroux, the Director of IT, will give you more details on this, but before I bring her up, I just wanted to touch on kind of like where we are. We've invested approximately $4.2 million in recovery efforts to date, out of the anticipated $7.5 million that it would take to recover. The city is currently in a spending freeze. You know, as this COVID, we moved through it. However, as it relates to the cyber attack, we're making sure that, again, we're moving the expenses associated with the cyber attack forward. So our core IT services have been fully restored. The city is now prioritizing its most critical spends in the wake of a financially uncertainty, again, that is over us relative to the COVID-19 pandemic. Many of our outstanding efforts have been delayed until this financial picture is again more complete. Work continues to be done there. We have seen the immediate efforts of our investments, our improved security infrastructure made it very much possible for the city staff to work remotely and to expand online services for the public. Again, we were able to demonstrate that very quickly, which has been critical during this pandemic that we are moving through. Our departments have virtualized their services over time, and they can now take advantage of many different tools in a real-time fashion for real-time collaboration across departments and across agencies affiliated with the city of New Orleans. This is very important as we have learned just a new way of working together, and particularly in the remote environment. Some of these practices we will keep pretty much intact. It was a priority for my administration that our people saw government just working throughout this cyber attack and even throughout this pandemic. The actions we've taken from the very beginning of this cyber attack have worked, and today we are safer and a more resilient city, but with still much work to be done. But there's a lot that has happened in the past 6 months, and I want to commend Ms. Kim LeGroux for her leadership, her tireless efforts, and her tenacity getting us through and up until this point. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Ms. Kim LeGroux to give you all more information on where we are and where we're going for the city of New Orleans. So thank you again. Ms. LeGroux?
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. As Mayor said, we are pleased to have recovered about 80% of our services and applications. We set out very early to make an effort to restore core services and to be substantially complete with our infrastructure restore by Mardi Gras and to make the city whole. That aggressive timeline, our staff worked 7 days a week for 7 to 8 weeks from the time of the cyber attack up till Mardi Gras to make sure that infrastructure was stood up and that those services were back online. This left us in a wonderful position to respond to the pandemic. It left our infrastructure more secure, and it made it possible for us to virtualize our services. But to date, we've restored our electronic police reporting system, We have online permitting now available. That is for not only property taxes and traffic tickets, but our permitting system is now online again as well. We have invested in 500 computers, refreshed. We lost about 800 in the cyber attack. About 500 of those we've been able to repurchase, and we expect the distribution of those computers to be complete within the next month. Our open data platforms have been restored, so our data is largely available. There are a few police systems that we're still working on, but for the majority of the reporting, it is available, especially our calls for service. And our cybersecurity awareness has become the focal point of our efforts now. In the wake of the pandemic, cyber hackers and bad actors are looking for reasons and ways to exploit governments. They are looking to make political statements, and all of these things prey upon either our vulnerable populations, our government, and stresses the systems that we've put in place. So we are launching early this year our cybersecurity campaign, so it'll launch in July. We usually launch it in September of every year, and we are being diligent about watching and the uptick of cyber activity and those threats against the city. So with the new tools that we've put in place, and with the cooperation and the diligent work of our employees who flag malicious emails, who talk to us about their security risks, who understand this much greater than they did in the past, we are confident that we're moving in the right direction and that our restore should be complete in a few of the months.
Kim, can you also talk about the internal controls that we have put in place for our employees as it relates to following those particular protocols, guidelines?
Yes.
So we're not impacted by negligence or lack of compliance.
So we implemented new security tools, and one is very important. It actually checks that each device that connects to our network is secure. It has antivirus software loaded, and it meets our compliance. That is the first and foremost, most important piece of our puzzle. We've limited the amount of malicious email systems that our users are able to access, and we're flagging the things that are suspicious to us, and we have great interaction with them. As it regards working remotely, when we sent our employees home, these were the security tools that they had with them. The great thing is our email system is now cloud-based, and it has even an extra layer of security. So while staff has had to get used to a couple of authentication requests or new steps to make sure that they verify who they are when they log into their emails, they have now learned the importance of doing that. So that new security infrastructure was really important. We've hardened our storage silos. We've moved new storage and new backups into our environment, and even shored up what we have at our offsite data facility. And all of this was done in preparation for our upcoming hurricane and disaster recovery season, and it's really showed that we can work resiliently almost from anywhere now with the security tools that we just put in place.
Thank you. That concludes really the update as it relates to the cyber attack. It was very important that we came to you to give you an update, because with so much going on, sometimes people forget that not only what we've had to deal with, but also just updating you how we have not forgotten and how we have been moving through these challenges by improving our systems that will ultimately improve the experience that the public has with their city government. So with that, Ms. Latanya, we'll take questions if you all have any. Any questions?
What systems are still down in response to the attack? And also, did the insurance policy that y'all had, did they lay out all the way?
We're still working with our insurance provider to settle our claim. The outstanding systems, or I'll tell you in terms of dollars and what it is we anticipate spending. So as I mentioned, we do have some open data systems that we have to make available. So that is, the systems might be up and running, but the information transferring into an open data platform where citizens or application developers who help us with analyzing that data can have access to those. Some of those are still offline or have not been made available. But as far as our outstanding spends, we are looking to replace those other 300 computers. We anticipated spending about $1 million in PC refresh, and we've spent about 600,000 so far. So that is outstanding. We also have some legacy programs that we don't know if we should restore in this current hardened environment. So those are usually smaller systems that a department might run internally. It could be an auditing system, it could be some financial system that they used internally, not our large enterprise financials, but it may be something that they use to track inventory or assets, and some of those legacy applications have not been restored because we are looking to make a better investment in software that is more secure, or because those systems were antiquated. So those are the most significant returns that we need to make, and also we're looking to finish the hardened infrastructure for our police systems. So the mobile data systems that we have and the in-car services that the police systems use, we've upgraded those. So there is some additional equipment that we will be putting in police cars at a later date, and that is a part of the final part of our recovery.
WDSU. Yeah, I don't think you answered what departments are actually still not restored, making up 20%.
No, we don't. So our departments are working. They're fully restored, meaning they have the tools that they need to work. They have core services. They're able to perform their IT functions. There could be some either information that they may be missing at this point, or some of their systems that we have not brought back online because we're still assessing them and making sure that they are operating as they should in the new environment.
So one example could even be with the online system for public records requests.
Yes, the next request system. We just reinstituted that system, and as of yesterday, we are now accepting online payments, right? So it is taking a system that worked in some capacity and then making it either more functional, more secure, or increasing the amount of service that we're providing to it. So when we looked at all of our applications and all of the services that we provide to each department, we made that list, and going through it, core services for that encompasses or supports all of our city users. We're at the very top, and then we have some very specific ones that might either affect just a group of people, either within a department or across departments, and those are the ones that we have left to restore.
All right, WGNL, the applicant.
Just one quick question about the budget constraints that we discussed earlier. I was wondering if there were still any plans potentially to reduce staff work hours, if there were any plans to use like free or open source versions of some cybersecurity tools and some of the other things that you mentioned in the budget document submitted to the CAO earlier this year as something that you could do in case the city needed to tamp down on the budget.
We're keeping a close eye on those. So we're always looking for very simple things that any IT infrastructure and any IT leader should be considering is renegotiating contracts, looking at new and open sources for applications and software. It could be as simple as reducing the number of licenses that are needed. So we look at those cost-saving measures first. For us, staffing would be a last resort, and we are still evaluating our infrastructure in light of the budget.
Any other questions pertaining to the cyber attack?
Yes. Do you think you'll spend all the money that is estimated to the recovery?
Yes.
Yes.
You always need to be in a position where you're maintaining your infrastructure, right, and your assets. And so as we look at our IT department, we want to continue to evolve as technology evolves with time. And so we want to continue to be resilient in that. So yes, always reinvesting in maintenance. And that's been a big priority for me in talking about maintenance. And that's why we got our public to, approve even the bond sales and the measures, just because we need a portion of our resources truly allocated towards maintaining our infrastructure, and our cyber is also a part of our infrastructure for the city to operate effectively and efficiently. So more to come, but this was just to give you an update on how far we've come, and not that we've forgotten that we experienced a cyber attack. Absolutely, we cannot. We're not out of the woods yet, meaning we're not at 100%, but we're getting there, and we just wanted to inform the public about how far we've come, but also we're not 100% just yet. But thank you so much.
And Fosse, did you have something?
This was off topic.
Okay.
The governor just signed a bill awarding COVID recovery money for small businesses in the amount of, I think, $300 million.
300 million.
What's your
yes.
reaction to that?
My reaction is wanting to make sure that the rules that are promulgated are definitely fair to our municipalities, so that the city of New Orleans, and along with all of our neighboring parishes, that we're put in a position to get our fair share for those small businesses that we know that desperately need those dollars. And so it all goes back to what are the policies, the rules, and procedures for businesses to access those dollars. And I want to make sure that they are in our favor, meaning in favor of the business owners. We also know that there is no duplication of benefits at all when it comes to public money, particularly federal money. And so those businesses that did not participate in the PPP process, this would be right for them. So I am, you make sure that you're right, meaning your city and your people are right to take advantage of any resources that are allocated for them. So right now, my job and my focus is on the rules that are adopted so that they are not unfair to the small businesses in the city of New Orleans. We have been here before. And what I mean by that is, even in the post-Katrina environment, it's all in the rules. And if they're fair, then your public can see that in terms of how the program is ran, but also how those resources hit the ground. So my focus, again, is on ensuring that small businesses in this city are connected to the bucket of money, that $300 million that's set aside for them, so that they get their fair share out of that funding source. So that's how I feel about it.
WDSU.
One more question on the cyber attack. Have you guys figured out who's responsible for the attack or where it came from?
You want to talk about that?
It's my fault.
So no one has claimed responsibility for the attack. We do know what type of attack it was. It was a Ryuk ransomware attack. And we found out where it originated in our environment. Yes, we did.
And put in measures in place and internal controls
Absolutely.
for everyone to be held accountable.
And now we have those. So we've made some restrictions based on the nature of the attack. We made very specific restrictions to our email systems and our infrastructure, so that that specific thing would not happen again, along with all of the other security controls we've put in place. And auditing is more extensive now. So types of things could occur, but with a more sophisticated blocking and measuring system, we are comfortable in our position now.
Okay, well, thank you all so much.
Yeah, Mayor.